But the NFL's position may be, look, we can't afford to mess around with this because our hand is too close to the flame already. We're already risking an undermining of the competitive integrity, just the overall integrity of the sport at a big picture level. If you go back and look at the things Roger Goodell said about gambling when they were fighting hard to keep it out of the sport, before the New Jersey lawsuit that ultimately resulted in the Supreme Court ruling that opened the floodgates for state-by-state legalization of sports wagering, there was a suit in Delaware where the NFL came out guns blazing against this thing. And some of the rhetoric about the evils of gambling, the mere legitimization of wagering on sports, the problems it can cause. And now you've got the NFL consciously getting into business with sports books. And I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying in situations like this, it makes things very murky. And maybe they feel compelled to have a zero-tolerance policy and to throw guys out of the league for a year if they get caught.
It just seems it seems hypocritical. It really does. It bothers me from that. It's not Pete Rose here. This is not somebody throwing games or managing the game and dictating how it's played so he can win his bet. I mean, that's not how it is. I don't like that. And then, beaming back to the old days, to your point, Mike, it's just like, back in the older days, really until the last few years, I mean, you really had to make an effort to place bets and do things. Now it's so accessible. To me, that warrants a little more leeway in this, especially when you can, dig through it a little bit and go, well, nothing crucial was done here. There is a difference to me there, and that's where, hopefully they can help this kid out a little bit and not be that harsh. Sorry, man, I know you're about to say something. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. There's so many different ways we can look at this, and one thing that you said earlier reminded me that this is an important point to make, because I'm curious now whether the NFL will just kind of sit back and wait for stupid to land in their laps like they did yesterday. I mean, They really didn't have to get out the big-ass
right.
Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass and go looking for evidence here. They had a third party that was aware of the fact that Calvin Ridley was betting on NFL games on his phone. It's not the crime of the century for the NFL to have cracked this one. I want to know what kind of resources are being devoted to address something you said, because it's an easy workaround. It's an easy life hack. I can't bet on my phone. Hey, buddy. Hey, pal.
Yeah, right.
Hey, lifelong friend.
Right.
Who I bought a car for after I got my first signing bonus.
Yeah, right.
You're going to place my bets for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cover your losses, and when you win, you're going to give me the money, and I'll cover your taxes, and we'll handle it all between us because we've known each other for 25 years. That's what I want to know, whether or not the NFL is going to aggressively ferret out. And then, Chris, it goes beyond just betting on the game. There are so many different ways that the NFL can be compromised by the reality of legalized gambling. And the final section of Playmakers comes out a week from today, and this is not a gratuitous plug. This is actually useful for a change. Usually it's gratuitous. I'll admit it. Every other time it's been gratuitous. This time there's a reason for it. The final section of the book is about the future of the game, and I tried to brainstorm on all the different ways the NFL should be concerned about how gambling can affect the game. And it's the injury reports. The injury reports are crap. They're useless. They're worthless. And the NFL will not do anything about it. I've had someone from the front office say, well, we probably need to take a closer look at this entire system. Yes, because people hide injury information all the time, which means there is inside information if you are in a position to go get it.
Right.
Tom Brady played all of the 2020 season with a torn MCL in his knee, and they never disclosed it once. Are you kidding me? And the league did nothing about it. Are you kidding me? So, if you're going to bring this one-year suspension energy on Calvin Ridley because he did something really dumb when he was not even part of the team, when he was in Florida on his own, and I don't know if he was having a few beers. I don't know what caused him to do something this stupid.
Right.
But if you're going to do it then, you better be carving off some of those hundreds of millions you're making off of gambling to make damn sure that everything else is in order. You can't just say, well, we periodically throw a head into the town square to show people we mean business.
Right.
Well, there's all sorts of other
we
stuff
find
going
this
on
subject more integrity in the NFL than this subject. It's subjective. I hear you. I think it's a great point, Mike. You're right. I mean, again, I really, I was wondering where you were going there with that for a minute, but right, how is that not, reporting injuries, doing stuff like that, hiding injuries, whatever you might want to say, where teams are trying to get a competitive advantage? Yeah, how is that not insider information and, taking advantage of the integrity of the game, which is kind of the rules? I hear what you're saying there.
It creates very real and useful inside information. The question is, how is it being handled?
Right.
And what is the NFL doing to keep it from getting into the wrong hands or keeping people who work for teams from becoming corrupted by those relationships? What are you doing there? Because that takes more work than having some third party tattle on Calvin Ridley because he happened to use the app and the information flowed to them and they told the NFL, not that they did anything wrong by tattling on Calvin Ridley. They're probably contractually required to do it. Another example that a coach shared with me at one point is we were trying to brainstorm these different ideas. What if a guy scripts plays? Does Kyle script plays?
I'm pretty sure. Yes, he does.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, let's say he scripted the first 15 plays and he's written them on a whiteboard in a coach's meeting room.
Right.
Let's say whoever comes in to empty the trash can sees those plays. How do you prevent that person from looking at those plays and gleaning something that could be useful? Not for, the 49ers -5, but for a prop bet.
Yeah, first play, runner pass.
On these prop
first
bets.
play,
Exactly.
runner pass. Right.
Or over-under. The over-under, the starting running back, over-under of 55 yards in the game, and you see the first 15 plays. Holy crap, they're giving it to him 8 times in the first 15 plays of the game. Hammer the over. There are many opportunities for inside information within these organizations. What is the league doing to safeguard it? Because that's the thing. If you're going to start coming after the players for doing something that you are pushing everyone to do, that is constantly in everyone's faces every time you turn on the TV, every time you pull up a website, and we're part of it. I understand that, but my point is, if you're going to go after a guy who did something stupid and admitted to it and wasn't using inside information and wasn't trying to shave points and wasn't directly affecting the integrity of the game, what are you doing about all this other stuff where there's an opportunity there to take that information and use it in a corrupt way? Are you erecting the safeguards to prevent that from happening? I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
And I think the answer is not yet. We know how the NFL operates.
Yeah.
They're never proactive.
No, they're not going to do anything until it's a problem, and they got to figure they're going to put a Band-Aid over it or something.
I never envisioned that would be a problem. Well, okay, you didn't want to envision it would be a problem because you didn't want to have to do anything about it until you had to.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's another one where, we sky judge whatever people to make sure to enforce the proper inflation of the football. This one where maybe they have to have somebody in the building in all 32 buildings. That's just basically monitoring that type of stuff. You're right. Monitoring the action on maybe the players' phones through these, sports betting apps. Maybe they can do that. I don't know what they do, but you're right. There's got to be some more safeguards because it's just going to pose more and more problems. It is. And yes, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to get that inside information either. I've had coaches tell me what their first play of their game is going to be. Hey, what are you going to run this week? Oh, hey, we're going to come out and do blah, 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 blah to start the game. I mean, it's out there. It's just, it's only going to take one jerk to kind of use that information the wrong way and really put a stranglehold on the NFL and put some pressure on them in this type of situation. So, yeah, we'll see if they're proactive here going forward. Hopefully this is not a problem, and I certainly don't see players making this mistake a whole lot. But, like you've said, it's just so easy and accessible right now. It's a little scary, and guys can just look at their phone and touch a button, and there you did. You placed a bet. It's easy.
The Cardinals are going to have a sports book in their stadium this year, and eventually what's going to happen in every stadium and in every home is going to be, once the technology is in place in the homes, it's clearly in place in the stadiums because you're there. Once the real-time images are being sent from the stadium to the homes, that's when play-by-play betting will mushroom, and that's when the gambling revenue will go up exponentially because it's going to be more than just placing a periodic bet. It's going to be every play if you want to put $5 on run or pass. One of the things I know the NFL has considered, but I don't know how they're going to deal with it, who's got access to that information on the sidelines. And if there is basically in-game casino where while people are watching the game, during the 40 seconds between plays, they're locking in their bet on what the next play is going to be. Is the backup quarterback down there tugging his ear for a run and scratching his nose for a pass, signaling to his pal up in the stands? These are all things, when you go down this path of jumping into the waterbed with the sports books, and it's a sports book orgy when you got 7 of them. You're getting paid by 7 of them. So it started off as a exclusive partnership with 3 companies. It's not exclusive as there's 3. Then they add 4 more. They're taking the money in order to let them use the shield. And again, in theory, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But you take on an obligation to get your affairs and your house in order and not have these kinds of scandals. Because all it takes is one, and you got Congress. Giving you the prostate exam.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they'll. I mean, let's be real here. I have a question, Dr. Florio. Let's be real. Maybe we should put the rubber glove on a little bit here and pull it on there a little tighter, okay? Because
I don't think they make them big enough for your hand.
They might not.
I think you have to.
They might not.
I think you.
But that finger's big enough.
You put your hand in like a. Yeah.
I'll get one on the finger, okay? Either way.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.